My name is Carter Green. I'm a product manager on the OneDrive team. I'm here with Kayla Nan. We are both product managers on the OneDrive team, and we're super excited to dive into sync deployment here. There's been quite a few OneDrive talks this week, and so we're excited to bring this one to you and talk all about sync. OneDrive is your cloud file storage for M365. You all know this, I hope. OneDrive is also the file collaboration or the file collaboration fabric underneath M365 as well. It not only stores your files and allows you to access them across all of your devices and surfaces that you use, but it also allows you to have collaboration, real-time collaboration within your Office documents, real-time, or not real-time, but commenting, @mentioning, all within Office, Stream, OneNote, what's another one? Lists. All those things require OneDrive to be there in M365. And rest assured, it is all giving you peace of mind as it is built upon the M365 pillars of security, compliance, and governance. OneDrive is not just, this week we've talked about a website. This week we've talked about a mobile app. OneDrive is not just these two things, it is also a desktop client. And that's what we're going to go into today. It's a desktop client of a sync engine that is bringing down your files into your native file browser, whether it be your File Explorer or whether it be Finder on macOS. It's your native file browser within that operating system. And so we're going to get started with an agenda of deploying that sync client into your OS of choice and being able to talk about what's the best way to deploy it for your workspace, for all of your areas. The next thing we'll talk about is some new things coming into the experience within Windows, and we will talk about the roadmap going forward. So that's our agenda for today. I'm going to turn it over to Kayla to talk about deploying OneDrive Sync.
Good morning. Hello. Before getting into it, I wanted to take a quick poll of the room. Who here is an admin for OneDrive at their company? All right, lots of you. OK. And how many of you have deployed Sync before? OK. And how many folks are maybe starting to look at deploying Sync for the first time, want to learn some best practices? All right, we got a few. OK, good. We've got a little bit of everything for everyone. I will be talking about best practices for deploying Sync. Some of these will be familiar. Some of them are brand new. So yeah, let's dive in. So you guys probably have a lot of people in your organizations. You probably have people who want to be on the latest and greatest. You might have some groups and teams that only want the most proven, most tested bits. The good news is we really do think we have OneDrive for basically everyone. So in terms of getting started, you want to make sure that all of your users are on supported environments. We support Windows, Mac, and virtualized environments. On Windows, we have support for 32-bit, 64-bit, and ARM, Windows 10, 11. Mac OS, support for Apple Silicon, Intel, and like Apple, we support the latest 3 versions. So for right now, I believe that is Monterey, Ventura, and Sonoma. And virtualized environments, Windows 365, Azure Virtual Desktop, and FS Logix, and more. So once you have everyone on a supported environment, you want to get the Sync client installed on everyone's devices. Luckily, that's super easy. It comes installed automatically with Windows, with Office, and you can also install OneDrive with Intune, Autopilot, and the like. After that, you are going to want to configure your OneDrive Sync settings. So you can use group policy objects, Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager, Intune, or third-party tools like Jamf for Mac, for example. And this is where you can really make the deployment sort of your own. You can customize it to what your users want and need, what your company needs. And while we give you all the switches and knobs and things to customize, we don't actually want you to flip all of them. And that's where I'm going to start talking about the best practices. We do have our best practices posted in our documentation online. You can go to aka.ms, sync ideal state. So don't feel like you need to remember everything that I'm talking about today. We will be updating the documentation in the coming weeks with some of the newer policies that I'm talking about. So if you don't see them there, they will be there soon. All right, so before I go into the best practices, a little knowledge test. What are some of the requirements for the OneDrive sync client to update automatically? You don't need to list them all. Give me one. There's some easy ones. Yes, that's a good one. Okay. All right. Yeah. Anyone else?
Particular ports open on your firewall.
Okay. Yeah. There you go. All right, so this set of best practices is what we have referred to before as the sync ideal state. These 6 here might be familiar to many of you. We've talked about them before. We do have 3 new ones that I do want to talk about today as well. The first one I want to talk about is updates and rings. So our first recommendation is that you allow traffic to these 2 URLs. This ensures that the OneDrive client will automatically update, that you will get bug fixes, that you will get new features. You just want to have that on. Secondarily, we recommend that you have all your user devices in the insiders and production rings. You should have most of your users on production. They'll get updates about every month or so. And you probably want a small subset of your users on insiders. They get updates every week or two. And this is the way you can see what new features are coming. You can prepare, you can maybe update your user documentation, any training, and just get it ready for your organization. Second best practice, Windows notification service. You want to allow network traffic to this URL. Don't let the name fool you. This is not specific to just Windows. It is a service, so this applies to both your Windows and Mac OS devices. This ensures that your files will get fast updates and you're always working with the latest version of your files. The next one is account configuration. So you want to enable the silent account config on Windows. This will ensure that your users get signed into the sync client and they don't have to do it multiple times. So on Windows, you sign into Windows, we will sign into OneDrive. On the standalone version of the Mac sync client, this is on by default, and so again, if you sign into, say, like Teams, Outlook, we will also sign you in as well. I want to spend a little bit more time on the next 3. We have a couple of updates that I want to bring your attention to. So first, we have Files on Demand and Storage Sense. So what is Files on Demand? Files on Demand allows you to access all of the files in your OneDrive in the cloud without having to download all of them. So this allows you to have a fast initial sync since you're not downloading everything. It allows you to use lower network utilization, and ultimately it saves disk space because you're only downloading the files that you're actually going to access. If you use this policy Files on Demand with Windows Storage Sense, which will allow you to free up space for OneDrive files that haven't been accessed after a particular period of time, you can very effectively manage storage on disk. In terms of what is new, we have actually removed the end user setting to disable Files on Demand because we feel so strongly that you should have this turned on. So in terms of actions, in terms of setting up, ensure you have Files on Demand on, and do look into the Windows Storage Sense policies to help clean up space on disk. All right, the next one I'm going to talk about is Office integration. Our Office integration allows you to collaborate on files synced by OneDrive in the Office desktop apps. So you get a lot of rich features like co-authoring and sharing, so you can work with your teammates effectively and efficiently. You get version history if you need to revert to an older version of a file. And you also get autosave so you don't lose any of your important work. We know it's really important that this experience is just really good, so we have been working on improving the ability to auto-resolve conflicts for your Office files. And in our early deployments within Microsoft, we've found that we've been able to reduce the incidence of conflicts for PowerPoint files down from 10% to 1%, and for Word and Excel from 10% to 5%. And so we're really excited to bring that to everyone else as well. So make sure you always have the enable all Oxy clients turned on. This is on by default, so just don't turn it off. All right, the last one is known folder move. Known folder move actually requires a little bit more thinking and planning than the others. Known folder move allows you to automatically move your desktop documents and pictures folders on Windows and your desktop documents pictures on Mac to OneDrive. So this allows you to meet your users where they are. They can work in File Explorer and Finder. They don't have to really change the way they work, but now you can ensure that their files are protected by the cloud and accessible anywhere. In terms of what is new, we have added policies so you can exclude particular files and folders from being uploaded. So you can specify a specific path, a specific name, you can use wildcards. This is really useful. Say, for example, if you don't want to have your users, say, executables or installers being uploaded to OneDrive, you can specify, wildcard.exe and make sure that that's just not going up into your cloud. There are some things to note here. So if you were to say rename a file to then match what you want to have be excluded from upload, those files won't actually be blocked. You can go take a look at the aka.ms exclude files from upload to learn more about how that works. So big picture, we really do think you want to turn KFM silent opt-in on. This is really easy. New devices, just turn it on, you're good to go. For existing devices, you might want to take a little bit more care since they already have files, content on the device, so you may have some network upload considerations. One way to do that is you could have users opt in through the wizard, and so you can turn on KFM opt-in with wizard. Users will then be able to opt in manually. Another option is actually to turn it on silently, but do it in batches and just make sure you monitor the deployment and the rollout. And the last thing we recommend is once you get all your users backed up with KFM, you don't want them to turn it off. So just block their ability to opt out. All right, so 3 new best practices that I want to talk about. Offline mode, shortcut folders, and sync health reporting. For offline mode, you may have heard in some of the talks earlier this week about what it is. Carter will be demoing it later, so you can see what it is for your end users. Offline mode is great because you can still work with your files, your folders, and still be productive, even in low network or no network situations. So you could be on the plane, you could be at the conference with maybe spotty Wi-Fi, and you can still get work done. By default, offline mode is enabled. So as long as you don't go in and disable things, you're good. The next one I want to talk about is the folder shortcuts. So many of you may be familiar with the sync button functionality, as well as the more newly introduced add shortcut to OneDrive. You may be wondering how they're different. Both of them allow you to access shared content from within your OneDrive. It makes it easy to access files and find files that you use often from any device. The main difference is that add shortcut is going to be way more performant for syncing than the sync button. So we really do recommend you start moving over to using add shortcut. And one of our suggestions here is to actually hide the sync button. It won't impact any existing sync relationships, but it'll prevent new ones from being created. So if you're able to start getting your organization to move over, that is one of our recommendations. I see the question. We'll take those at the end. Thank you. All right, and the last one I want to talk about is sync health reporting. Sync health reporting allows you to check the status of individual devices within your organization. You can see information about KFM state, about errors, and it allows you to be more proactive in solving the problems that your users are facing. This has been available pretty widely in all of our, standard geos, but we are bringing this to GCC in June. It is not enabled by default, so you will need to go in and enable the sync admin reports. You'll need to visit the M365 portal, which is where these reports are available. And we have some more information at that link right there. So the reason we think it's really important that you enable sync admin reports is because it allows you to get some really good and interesting insights about what's going on in your tenant. We are excited to announce, and maybe some of you have heard about this already, the sync admin report export functionality through the Microsoft Graph Data Connect product. So this would allow you to join your data, your sync client data, with other data sets that you might have. So that could be AAD, Exchange, Teams. It could be data that's completely separate. It could be organizational data, who reports to who, who's in what department. And you can use this data to create more actionable insights. You can detect spikes and errors. You can monitor your KFM rollout. And you can also leverage automation. So you can run jobs if you're looking to do some more continuous monitoring. There are two sets of data that are going to be available. So one is the Sync Health data set that will have information about the device, the users, their email, KFM state, when it was last synced. And then the error data set, which allows you to dig deep into what specific errors users are seeing so you can more effectively help them troubleshoot. This will be available in public preview by the end of June. And it'll be available in the 15 geos where Microsoft Graph Data Connect is currently supported for SharePoint. And so actually with that, I'm going to transition into a demo to show you some of the cool things that you can do. We're really just gonna scratch the surface. And so I'm hoping you all have some really good ideas about what you might wanna do with your organizations. All right, so in your data visualization software of choice, I've chose Power BI here. You're going to import all of your data. I have the health data set that I mentioned, the errors data set, and I actually also added a department data set where I've mapped the users to the department to which they belong. So in the upper left here, I have a very basic graph. It's a small data set. This is the number of devices that have errors over time. In the next one here, I have the sync app versions that the devices in my organization are on. The bottom left is just a table of a select number of columns of the data. And then on the right side, I have a bunch of the errors that users might be seeing. We also have some filters up here on the right. So I may be looking at my organization, and I see the number of devices that have errors seems to have spiked in the last day. So I might want to dig into that. If I click on that, I can see that there's no specific sync app version that's affected. So maybe it's not a new deployment or maybe a really old version that all these users happen to be on. In the bottom left, I see a list of the users who are affected by errors. I can reach out to them through email. I can maybe reach out to their manager if I had manager data. I do see here that this first user, Adam, he's actually an executive, so I might want to be a little bit more hands-on and proactive with my outreach. If I click on him, I can see that the error that he's experiencing right now is that there's not enough space on this computer for this file to sync. Now I might be thinking, what's going on with all the executives that I have? So I can actually filter to the executives. Of the 4 of them, 2 of them are actually experiencing errors right now, and they're actually both experiencing the same one. I also see that one of them's on a really old version, and so when I reach out to them, I might also make sure that we update them to the latest. All right, so if we go back to that spike, I might also look at the errors that are being experienced. One of these actually catches my eye. So I see we detected a virus in this file and stopped syncing it. So that's something I might want to get on pretty quickly. If I click on that, I can see the 4 users who are affected by this error. It doesn't look like it's spiked recently, but nonetheless something we would want to address. I do see 3 of them are in human resources. So maybe they're working together and they have this file that's become infected with a virus. But this helps me figure out how I want to approach the people that are affected with errors, just with adding like a simple piece of data such as what department they're in. So I've really only scratched the surface here. There's a lot you can do with the Sync Health data when you join it with other data. And so we're excited to bring that to you in public preview in this June. And I will hand it over to Carter.
Super excited about Sync Admin Reports and Sync Health. Like being able to join your data from Sync Health into your own organizational data. Like she joined it by organization. So being able to see like are they executive, are they in HR? That's not data that the Sync Health reports have, but being able to export that data out, join it with your local data sets, and then being able to perform cool queries like that, or useful queries like that, super helpful and powerful. And so I know You've been asking for export for a while. You already have scenarios in your minds. Excited to see that come. The next bit of this presentation is we want to walk through what's new for users. And really, I could have you do this section of just what's your new favorite OneDrive feature, and then I'll take my turn and I'll go through my new favorite features for OneDrive. So go ahead, raise your hands. I have some leftover beanies, so we'll go through 4 people. What's your favorite feature of OneDrive that you've either learned about this week or that you've been using the past 6 months? I'm interested. Collaboration between, yeah. Yeah, being able to collaborate real-time, there you go. Real-time collaboration, that's perfect. Colored folders is your favorite feature. I love that. John, can you go deliver that to colored folders for me? Red shirt.
Yeah, it's not really yet, but really the roadmap to OneDrive, we're experiencing a lot of problems with departments having a lot of content, and these newer features are just going to help tremendously.
All the newer features. I have a roadmap slide at the end of this deck. I want you to take a picture of it and then get excited about it, because there is a lot of cool new features coming, and I'm sorry to hear that you're having problems, and so let's hope that that roadmap resolves. Someone this far side, blue shirt? I can't see names. I love that. KFM, known folder move, being able to meet the user where they're at by syncing the documents folder, because that's where they're going to save things anyways. And so being able to make sure that that is compliant, secure, and syncing, available on all their devices, I love that as a feature. Okay, well, there's a spoiler. I am going to spend most of the time here walking through a demo that allows you to see all the new things that I have to announce for you today, and then we'll go to the roadmap and be able to see when they're all coming. The first feature that I want to talk about is in our favorite application, File Explorer. But first, I'm going to do one thing that I was supposed to do before I sat down to configure this demo. And that is, the sync client is a great application, but sometimes it's not running. Sometimes it crashes, and you've told us that. We've learned from you and our reports. Sometimes it gets issues where it's not able to sync properly. And so when users walk into the File Explorer, let's get this thing to connect. If you don't know, so the sync client is fully supported on Windows 365. That was one of the supported environments. This is a Windows 365 environment that I'm hosting on my device. And so we are going to be demoing all out of that. What I did behind the scenes, I'll explain it, is I went in and I just closed the sync client. And so when a user walks into the File Explorer and they start interacting with their files, they see all their files. These files are openable, well, the ones that you have synced. They're openable, they're editable, they're savable, but they won't sync. And how is an end user supposed to know this? There is a new experience in Windows 11 that came out this fall that is this address bar experience. It used to be in the command bar, but it shows you your cloud storage information. So I can click on this and I can say, hey, connect to OneDrive to help keep your files protected and up to date. As an end user, I can go right here and I can just click. This is where I'm getting the signal. I'm getting the signal within my OneDrive folder. I can say, connect OneDrive. That's going to then sign me in, because it already knows my account. It was just closed for some reason. And so I can immediately get connected. Now I can click here, and it's like, hey, my files are synced, and I'm up to date. This is the first new feature I want to talk about. Second new feature is a feature that you've told us before, is when I delete specifically online-only files within my OneDrive folder, where do those files go? They go to a recycle bin. And they normally go to the cloud recycle bin. And so you would have to go to either that OneDrive site to be able, the OneDrive recycle bin, or you would need to be able to go to that SharePoint recycle bin, and the user sometimes doesn't have all of that knowledge of which recycle bin that they need to go to be able to restore that file. And so I'm going to select this one. It's called Mark 8, or I'll take this one, Mark 8 diversity poster. And let's delete it. Well, when I delete it, I get a Windows warning that says, hey, deleting this online-only file permanently removes it from your PC without sending it to the recycle bin. So this is where I show you, this is early code. This prompt, I'm going to say yes, I definitely want to delete this. But if I go to the local recycle bin, it's here. Today, that doesn't exist. Today, it goes up to the cloud and goes to a recycle bin online. But I can go to the File Explorer local recycle bin on this build, and I can see, sure, it's not fully rich. And so I'm showing you early code where the thumbnail is not there, but the file is there. I can see here that I can have this file, and I can click, and I can restore this file. Where will it go? It will go back to my OneDrive folder, and it shows up back here. And so this is taking an experience where online-only files specifically, so this little blue cloud over here, these files are not actually, they're placeholders. They're not on the device. But being able to delete them and see them in the local recycle bin next to your local files is something that I think every end user will enjoy because they'll be able to escape that, that data loss scenario where they accidentally deleted something and it's gone. And so this gives your users a peace of mind that they can always restore and get back to the content that they accidentally deleted or maybe deleted on purpose, and then they had a coworker that told them that they couldn't delete it, and so then they had to restore it. All right. The next thing that I want to go through is being able to look at some of the new File Explorer features. And so I can take a file like this leadership connection PDF, or maybe this keynote speech, and I can right-click, and I can add to favorites. This is a feature that came out recently, last fall, and so I can add this file to favorites, but then where does it go? How do I find favorites? File Explorer Home is a whole new experience that brings you recommended content. This is the same recommended for you experience, and I can collapse this real quick to sort of show you a whole new recommended feed. This is the same for you feed that we see on OneDrive Web and we see on Microsoft365.com. File Explorer has it built in. It is a combination of AI that is able to bring these files to you, as well as recent and relevant information. The second thing that we see here is favorites. I can see my keynote speeches here. I can access it and be able to quickly get back to those files that I have favorited. These files are a mix of local files that I've favorited and M365 files. Whether I saved it from my OneDrive.com website or whether I was in a SharePoint site, whatever document library you are in, if you favorite a file, it will show up here. You can see here the 6 ways to collaborate with your team doc that I have. It's not stored in my OneDrive folder. It's stored in my SharePoint. It's stored in a SharePoint site in their document library. I favorited it there. It's showing up here in File Explorer. The last thing is it's always had a recent feed. So I'll collapse this so you can see. It's always had a recent feed. But this recent feed is energized with M365. And so it has local files for sure that I'm editing. I don't edit a lot of local files, as you can see in this location column. Well, look, I do have one out of downloads. But most of my files are out of M365. I can rely on this recent feed to be able to bring me my recents. But if I also work on a lot of local files, I will see those here too. The next thing that I want to talk about with Home is this experience of this new details pane that also shipped last fall. So I can open up a file. So not open, I can just tap on a file, and I can see here that my coworker, Leisha, has been moving this file, that she's edited this file. She's been interacting with this one. I can tap on another one. Let's try. I can tap on all these. I can see that they have recent activity, but I think that there are some Oh, maybe not. I had this. I'm not going to be able to find one for you today. There are some that will have recent activity, but there is even more insights here. There's related documents. There's related conversations, and those are your team's conversations or your Outlook emails. Those will show up right here in line and be able to show you, but it doesn't want to work for me today. That's okay. We'll move on and find more files. With the details pane, really the goal here is to be able to get those actionable insights on the cusp of the file. You don't have to open it up and dig into like, who's been commenting, what's the recent feed here? Within File Explorer, you can see those collaborative signals right here within the details pane. The next feature I want to show you is around home. When we search from home, we are not just searching on this device. We are searching, once again, across our relevant and our recent files. And so if I want to look up a file that I know is not on this device, but something that I've accessed recently and like, where was that? I can go here to home. The file is called an org chart, v1. It's in a PowerPoint. If I tap on it, I can see that it's here. I can see that Liz edited it or renamed it a while ago, but I can access it. You can also see that this file is also, it's not syncing. This is a SharePoint site document library that I haven't added it as a shortcut folder, but I'm able to search it from within File Explorer. So I hope you can see that File Explorer here, yes, it's an awesome local file browser. It is also becoming our M365 browser for Windows, where we can be able to see SharePoint, synced documents, and more across our M365 ecosystem. So let's prove this out. I can right-click here, and I can say Open File Location. That's going to show me the document library that it was in. And this document library is not synced. I don't have a sync relationship with this document library. And so being able to find it within File Explorer is a new thing that we have coming. Oh, actually, the search functionality is a new thing that already came. That was already shipped. But being able to see, being able to edit the things within the OneDrive folder like I showed, those are coming soon, and we'll talk about that. So you can see here at the top, I still have those two actions. I haven't set that tenant-wide command yet. I do need to go and make a note of that and come back to it. But I could add this as a shortcut to my OneDrive and get back to it. OK, while we're here, let's look at the OneDrive website real quick, because there are some changes on the website that are powered by the sync experience. The first one that you'll see within the My Files view, so that got collapsed. Within My Files view is you'll see this new little icon up here in the top right. This tells me that offline mode is ready. I can see here that there are two experiences that offline mode enables. One, it enables this new icon here next to my files. This one says that this one's available offline. This one's available offline. Now, this is a new signal for the web experience, but we're sync users. This is not a new signal. This is, let's see, Mark8 project. That's green check. Contoso, that has a green check. I can make budget planning. Always keep on this device. And what does that do over there? That adds the little check in budget planning. Let's clean that up. We can go online, and we can say, oh, I don't want that available online. File Explorer, that's switched. They don't want that online either. This whole experience is sync-powered, and so your File Explorer files on demand states are what are being represented on the website. And what's on the website will also be able to command down into File Explorer and control those states. So this allows the user to work where they are, but to be able to express their offline availability at any surface that they're at, whether it's the web or whether it's the mobile app. OK, Now, this next section, oh, one more thing. I have two more things to talk about. The other cool thing here that we can do from the website is budget planning. Well, someone said that their favorite new feature was colored folders. So I can sit here and budget planning. They're probably working with a lot of money. I'll probably say money is green. That might be an American thing, but it's somewhat global. So I'm going to color that folder green. What you will see on the left side is that that folder will also be green within File Explorer. And let's make one more. So let's take the recordings. I don't really have a color that I pick for recordings, but let's go for purple, light purple. What it does is it's taking that signal, bringing it down to File Explorer, and also coloring it there. Now, in this demo, this is the functionality I have to show to you. We'll talk about more of how that also will sync back up from the File Explorer, being able to color a folder within your OneDrive folder, and that'll sync back up to the cloud. OK, so I have one more demo, and that is I'm going to walk outside of this Windows 365 environment, and I'll show you. This is the same OneDrive that I was in. I can refresh it, probably get those colored folders. OK, so what does offline mode look like? Offline mode is an experience that we've been able to demo off this week and show you. I'll just go a little bit more deeper to show you in real time what it looks like. I'll also say that this is the riskiest part of my demo, so I'm just going to walk out onto this line and try it. In a conference like this, sometimes we don't have perfect Wi-Fi. Although this conference has had pretty good Wi-Fi, but my room has not had good Wi-Fi. That's a different thing. While I'm here, though, in order to simulate this, I will go and turn off the Wi-Fi. What I expect to happen is that my website should tell me that I'm working offline. It immediately tells me up top, hey, the changes will be uploaded when you reconnect, but it's inferring that I can make changes. 2, it also will tell me down below, you're currently working offline, some functionality isn't available. Now this is a dismissible. I'm not going to dismiss it for now, just so I want to continue to be reminded and show you. But what type of functionality do I have here? Well, on the navigation pane, I can navigate and I can look at my files. We'll see how far I can get down this path. I can't look at my shared. I can see my favorites, and I can get back to my favorites if I need to. From files, I can also right-click on a folder, and I can see that restricted functionality right there. So I can rename. I could colorize it. Let's do that. You can make it a color. That works. I get that little signal down below. Updated a color. I can rename it. So new project, let's just say existing project updates. I don't have a great icon. Oh, and it looks like I can still pick colors, but I just did that, so let's do that. So existing project updates. All these things are being saved, and they'll be, you can see here, these changes will be uploaded when you're back online. So even from the web experience, you can make some offline changes, and they'll be uploaded. But we can also do this within File Explorer. Being able to work offline is not a new concept, but it's about meeting the users where they're at. Are they online or are they offline? All of this is powered by sync and being able to upload those files once you get back online. So let's do one more thing. Let's open up the Mark 8 project folder, and there's a PDF here. Now, one of the new experiences that we have is being able to right-click, open, and open this file in an application straight from the website. Now, this is a PDF, so it's not going to open it up in Office, but it'll open it up in my native PDF viewer, which happens to be, well, I can't answer that question yet because there's a few prompts here. One, I could have skipped this prompt. I can always allow this, but I wanted to show it for you. The end user will get this first prompt. This is an edge prompt telling you that the users are trying to open up Microsoft OneDrive because it's the sync client that's going to make this file open. The second prompt is a sync prompt just saying, You should only open files from a trustworthy source. Go for it. So with one prompt, you can open up a file. Now I'm in Foxit PDF. That's my PDF viewer. This is a native Windows application that I just opened up from the website because I had it set as my default. I could open an AutoCAD file this way. I could open up any file offline. I'm looking at DICOM files for medical images. I can do all this, and I can edit it inline. So I can take my highlighter. I can do it. This is just a native Windows application working offline like they always do. They're great. I couldn't do this on the web experience. I'm completely offline. No, sorry, I didn't want to press yes. There we go. So I highlighted a few things. I can click save because it's going to save it, and then it's going to sync back up to the cloud. So I can close this out. I can go here. I can enable Wi-Fi again. As I enable Wi-Fi, you'll see the website start to change here and say, oh, you're going to reconnect. You can, oh, it's moving. The banner at the top moved away. It tells me I'm reconnected to the internet. There was a little whirly icon here telling me that it was syncing. We're giving the users the signals, again, all over on the web experience that things can come back online. And so now if I open this experience on the web, so I'll just use the new preview experience, I can see that my highlight worked. And so I highlighted apparently just ways to work together in PowerPoint. And once again, this is not just the experience that exists on the web. I can go into File Explorer. I can open up the Mark 8 project. I can come here. I can double click. It's going to open up Foxit, and it's going to show me my changes. So once again, it's all sync powered, but it's the new offline experience for OneDrive Web. OK, so with that, let's fly through a few things to show you and recap what we just talked about. Let's talk about File Explorer. We call this the flyout experience, but it's really delivering the cloud storage information at your fingertips. This is already available today, but that new disconnected state that gives the user peace of mind and gives them up-to-date information, that one is coming soon this summer. Colored folders in File Explorer. Being able to see those colors so that you can see at a glance personalization as well as organization. Being able to highlight your pink folders, your red folders, and your green folders, whatever you have. Within the OneDrive folder only. That is also coming soon this summer. We talked about delete improvements, being able to see your online-only files in the recycle bin, still taking up no space, but allowing you a local spot and a quick spot to restore your files. We didn't talk about this new delete improvement that we have as well, but you have told us that, and we do know as well, users delete content all the time, but sometimes they delete shared content that's shared with another person. And when it's deleted for the other person as well. And so there's an experience that we have that is putting a prompt in front of them saying, are you sure you want to delete this? This is going to be deleted for everyone else. Do you want to keep this and check with your coworkers, check with your other people that have access to that file? Or do you want to delete this for everyone? This experience can also be controlled by policies. And it was something that we heard from you. You wanted the ability to be able to say, hey, turn this on for everyone, don't turn this on for everyone. Delete automatically, don't delete this automatically. Show the prompt. And so we have policies coming soon that'll be able to allow you to control this experience for your users and allow them to have peace of mind for when deleting shared content. Yes, good. We talked about File Explorer, the new home experience, the new details pane. All of this is available with the latest last fall's version of File Explorer. Please update to Windows 11. Please update to the latest version of Windows. The amount of M365 integration and what we're able to accomplish in it is just vastly different and better than what we've seen in Windows 10. The other experience we saw was search, being able to just walk into File Explorer Home, search for your most relevant or your recent files, and being able to access not only your local files, but also your OneDrive files, as well as SharePoint document library, your M365 files. The other thing that we successfully was able to pull off was offline mode, being able to deep dive into that and seeing the signals that are there, and us being able to communicate effectively to the users wherever they are at within File Explorer or within the web, how to run offline and use their OneDrive files. Last thing I want to talk about that is what we didn't talk about was the performance improvements. So the OneDrive, the offline mode experience is not only just represented through files on demand states or being able to work offline, but it is an experience that is always running and has offered a lot of performance improvements for that web experience only. So being able to improve the web load time by 15% and a 6x speed improvement on interacting and working with files. And so large data sets and everything, it's a really awesome experience to have, such great perf. The last one we were able to do was open up a file within a native application. Not only inside of your OneDrive folder can you do this, that's synced backed, you can also step out of your synced experiences, walk into a SharePoint document library that you have not synced backed, and you can say, hey, open an app. And you can select a file that is not syncing and open it in a native application, save it, and have it go back up. The one thing that I will call out for admins as we deploy policies is you need to ensure that you have that offline client availability for that SharePoint document library enabled. I don't believe it's enabled by default, and so please have that enabled so that you can perform this type of open an app functionality. And with that, that is the holistic view of what's new and how to run sync ideal state and deployment. I do want to talk about our roadmap slide. I know it's someone's favorite slide, so we'll get there. There's a lot of changes that we have within the sync space. OneDrive space for sure, but even within the sync space, there's a lot of changes that we've been working on. There's a lot of changes that are coming up. I will talk about it because we're running low on time. I will talk about 2 or 3 things real quick. One, over the past 6 months, we've shipped a lot of features focused on the fundamentals of the OneDrive Sync app. Some of them have been focused on app performance, app boot, memory usage. We have improved 33% footprint on macOS, as well as decreasing the footprint on Windows just via some of the changes in the last 2 months. And so if you were at my lightning talk yesterday where I talked about macOS, we've greatly improved the performance and reliability and the memory footprint of our macOS client, so much so that we had a user, not at this conference, but last week in feedback, we saw that he was like, OneDrive is now a super powerful on macOS. So excited about it. And so there's changes on Windows, there's changes on macOS in our performance. The other one that's colored there is remote app support. This was one that we didn't get to today. We definitely have been focused on it and trying to bring it. Someone did talk to me yesterday about remote app support. I'm excited to say that it is coming later this year. The functionality here is being able to not only just use like a Windows 365 desktop or remoting into a desktop, but if you use the remote desktop experience, you can have remote apps. So you can remote app just into an Office client or just into a specific app, but you can still connect your OneDrive to that and have that remote app syncing up to the cloud. That syncing functionality then is represented on your native or your home desktop within the sys tray. You can see the sync status of even that remote app. And with that, I have a few last things to point out. There's not a lot of sessions left, with today being the last day, but there is one more OneDrive session, a customer panel discussion happening today at 11 a.m. in Northern Hemisphere E3, which is, I think, this room. So if you just want to camp out for like 2 hours, we'll gladly talk to you, but I do think that there's other talks. Please come back for this session. There's 2 sort of, I don't know how to call them, but Social media pitches I can give to you, not this one. This one is our customer office hours. We have this on a monthly basis every Wednesday. It's a new experience that we have for you to come and ask questions, but also to listen to our public roadmap on a monthly basis and be able to see new features. We unveil features here and be able to talk to you. So please come and listen here. If you're not in for a time-boxed experience that is a meeting, why not do an asynchronous thing? We have a podcast called Sync Up. Those are the beanies that I've been handing out. This one comes out on a regular cadence. And so please subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts and be able to listen and catch up with the things that we are doing on a routine basis. And so with that, thank you for coming to Florida. Thank you for coming to our talk.